Before we start, I just ask you to like the video and subscribe. Thank you. On the floor we found 2 wounded bodies. These did not bear even a drop of my blood. And you still want to be my subordinates? Throw them in the kitchen, as ingredients. One of her subordinates reminds her that according to the latest constitution, any private consumption of human blood is a crime, so she recommends sending them to the factory for legal treatment. She agrees. For humans to grow up without so much fear, the rules of the blood race should have changed a little. The tradition is to turn the strong into dependents, who would never betray their masters, and the weak were turned into ingredients. In fact, the blood race ruled the land for years. Blood is no longer a necessity for us. Now many prefer human food garbage, although blood secretly is still better. Next destination, Emerald City. We meet a father who tries to wake up his son. He asks him why he sleeps during the day. School will start in a few days, so he will have to eliminate those habits. As he leaves, he warns him for the last time to get out of bed and help him greet customers. Our protagonist is disoriented. I am Wang Zhe. I had just turned 25. I remembered it clearly. That night I had finished a project that had taken me a long time, which his boss took me away and then fired me from the company. At that time I was burdened by a mortgage, and my father had been in the hospital for 2 years. I only had 50 yuan left on his bank card. That day he was drunk, sitting by the river, thinking about his life and all the effort he had put in. At that moment, he saw his sister entering the river. He quickly ran after her. With the help of some people he was able to rescue her, but he was disappointed. He had not given up because she had done it. She was a scoundrel. They could not die. Even if we are forced to do nothing, we must continue. While all these thoughts were going through his head, little by little he began to sink and the air began to go out of him. And then, our prota did not remember anything else after that. He looks at the clock and realizes that it's May 2077. Wasn't this when he was 18? He quickly leaves the room in shock. Is this all true? Our prota screams at his father, and then jumps up to hug him. He is shocked. His son had not hugged him for a long time. This was very strange. One of his customers gets angry. How much longer do you want me to wait? Our prota's father apologizes, and goes back to work. The customer, a little angry, tells him that the only reason he is here is because all the beauty salons are full, and that he was in a hurry, that if he was late in the afternoon, he would wreck his house. Our protagonist gets angry and goes to confront him, but his father stops him. He tells the customer not to worry, Master Jiang will take care of everything. He knew that in the afternoon he had to attend the interview of Miss Luangyu, a noblewoman by blood, and as everyone knows, you are among the top 10 young men in the Emerald City. You will surely be selected as a clerk. The customer calms down a bit, listening to all the compliments of the gentleman. Our protagonist is stunned. Pure-blooded nobleman, dependent, is this really the world I know? Our prota starts watching the news of this world, and as in this world they worship the pure-blood family, he still doesn't quite know what the term pure-blood is, so he looks it up on the internet. Pure blood, a pure blood life form with a genetic level S or higher, possessing a stronger immortal body and special abilities, protecting the Earth and the galaxy from foreign invasions. They are the most noble, elegant, quiet, and wise group of people. All the important leadership positions in the world are held by purebloods, and under the leadership of the 7 Blood Kings, all purebloods progress with humanity, leading the way to a brighter future. Our prota reading all this, he senses that the purebloods are ruling humanity. This was not right in any way. Humanity is being ruled? No resistance? He searches for the term, blood war invasion of humanity. Will it be a war, a foreign invasion? As the search loads, error 404 appears. Dangerous information, monitored. Our protagonist quickly leaves the page. What is all this? He was scared to death, and very confused with everything that was going on in this world. This world he had been reborn in, definitely not the original. He wonders if he was still the same or had he changed. As he thinks, he notices a teeth mark on his neck. He wonders if by any chance he had been bitten by a vampire. but before he could pay more attention to his wound, it suddenly disappears. Our protagonist thinks he may be hallucinating, but it had been very strange. It disappeared in the blink of an eye. As he was leaving, supernaturally, his reflection turns around and looks back at him with a huge smile. Our protagonist leaves for school, while his father excitedly bids him farewell. It has been a great honor to see him receive a letter of acceptance from a prestigious school. Don't disappoint your ancestors. In his last life, his father had been hospitalized for terminal cancer, and this time I want to nip the disease in the bud, so I told my father to go to the doctor for a routine checkup. He had been reborn into a strange world, but he was going to make sure he didn't waste his life. This time he was going to live like a man. Suddenly some people tell our protagonist to get out of the way. This was no place for a lower class like him. This was a noble activity in which only students with a higher genetic rank could participate, so get out immediately. Our prota is confused. He had read something about genetic level somewhere. He looks at his credential and realizes that he is of rank C, but he doesn't know what the genetic scale was. Suddenly someone pushes him out of the way. One of his companions helps him and asks him if he is well. Our hero recognizes him. In his other life, when Chang was his companion, they never had a friendship. This one in his past life was a bit of an idiot. He didn't like Wen Chang very much. This one was a good student. When he was a student, our prota drank and smoked. He thought he was invincible. People even called him the king of the mountain. Of course, society slapped me in the face. In our protagonist's worst moment of desperation, he sent messages to all the people he considered best friends to borrow some money. Now he knew he was the only one who considered them brothers. But unexpectedly, Wen Chang had helped him, lent him a hand and encouraged him in his worst moment. At that time he had forgotten about him, but now it would be different. In this life he would be with the right people. He asks Wen Chang, "Who are we waiting for? Who is the famous goddess?" Wen Chang, surprised by Wang Zhe's attitude, tells him that they are waiting for Lady Ling Langyu. She is a pure-blooded noblewoman who has come to the Emerald City in search of a new family. He asks Wen Chang why everyone is so desperate to become a member. What are the benefits? He tells him that by becoming a blood member, ordinary humans can not only change their blood type and increase their life expectancy, but also have the magnificent power of their masters. But someone interrupts them, saying that this is all secondary. The point was to give thanks. Giving grace is an indispensable step. It was very important to give grace. The ritual of giving grace is not complete until the pure blood race injects its own power and blood into its subordinates. This was an incredibly exciting, comfortable and erotic process. For the human being, receiving grace is the moment of greatest pleasure in the world. They start getting excited and saying that Miss Ling Langyu was beautiful and who wouldn't want to be in her place. Our somewhat disillusioned protagonist realizes that in the end it's just a matter of being bitten. Editor, basically millions of students are willing to do anything, just to be bitten and supposedly have the greatest pleasure in the world. At that moment, Miss Ling Langyu was arriving, the goddess of pure blood nobility, the most important guest of the Emerald City. Our protagonist is not interested in this. He tells Wen Chang that it was none of his business anyway. The most important experience he gained from his previous life is that you should never try to depend on others or outside forces for anything, because outside forces will disappear one day, and no matter how bright or good that moment is, in the end we still have to struggle on our own. What if we become a family member? Will we still be mere servants of others? If they tell you to live, you will live, and if they tell you to die, you will die. He didn't want that for himself. If so many people want that greater good, go ahead, ask for it. Our protagonist didn't mind at all. But at that moment suddenly there is an explosion. Many students are shot out, among them Wen Chang, but our prota holds him by his coat with all his strength. We can see how some hooded men have just arrived. The mayor is in shock. If Lang Lingyu had not blocked the attack, he would probably be in grave danger. The bodyguards surrounding him would not have had time to react. The Alcardi was shocked. These guys had at least a diamond combat level equal to his. Diamonds are not low at all. He wondered who would have sent these assassins. This one, before being surrounded, he quickly escapes. All the bodyguards start chasing him to prevent him from escaping. Miss Lang Lingyu begins to rebuke the mayor. How is it possible that an assassin has infiltrated a place with military? Is this the level of the army of the Emerald City? The mayor begins to make excuses, saying that he transferred the best military to the headquarters, because she was here, a noble of pure blood, with genetic rank of S or higher. With you, you are the strongest fighter in the Emerald City. Even the military would be safer with you. This one starts to ignore the mayor, and pay attention to our Prota and Wenchang. The others could not protect themselves, but our Prota would vomit blood and protect the others at the same time. The boy from before tries to get Lang Lingyu's attention. He says he was the genius with the highest genetic level in the school, and wished to silver him. Subsequently, they all start to say they want to be his family and serve him. Lang Lingyu, amused, asks them, do you know why they divide the genetic rank? They tell him that it is to keep the family blood pure. The boy before tells him that humans are weak, and the process of receiving the grace of blood can be easily overwhelmed by the power, and become unbalanced. Rage, death. Since its birth, the human race has been divided into genetic classes. He explains that the genetic grade is divided into 5 levels. The higher the level, the easier it is to merge with the genes of the bloodlines. This explains that the grade A, so the success rate is 90%. If on the other hand someone is E grade, it is only 10%, so the genetic level is the key to becoming a member. Lang Lingyu funny, tell him it is a good point, but he was losing the point. He was right, however, he had lost a point. What he had said is based on the grace object. It is the case of common blood. However, pure blood nobles, regardless of the classification, has no restrictions. Pure blood, as long as they show the enchantment, the success rate is 100%, regardless of the genetic level of the other party. In simpler words, as long as it gives you grace, whether you are an E or an A, in my eyes it makes no difference. That's why we purebloods can distinguish ourselves as nobles, and that's why we are strong. Questioning the genetic level makes you stronger. After becoming a blood race, you have to start over in the world. Don't you understand? What I need is not that. Then why do I need a loser? The guy from before was devastated. This one was going to self-harm, but our Prota stops him. This one insults him and tells him that even though he can't be inbred, he doesn't have to do this. Okay, you can work and open a store, you can still get ahead. What the fuck was wrong with this guy? This woman just said he was no good, and he wants to take his own life. These people are crazy. Now I think these people need to go to the mental hospital. Our Prota wonders if it really mattered that much. The guy he was trying to help gets angry and tries to assault him. How dare he stop him from killing himself? He was going to kill him. But our Prota dodges him, as he starts crying on the floor. Surprisingly, Lang Lingyu stands in front of our Prota, and puts a finger under his lips, then tastes his blood and tells him it tastes good, and to go to his residence tonight. He wanted more of his blood. He then announces that all the people who are on the scene have the opportunity to enter my mansion. Tonight was the second selection. Whoever gets it tonight can stay the night. I will wait for you. This last he said, looking at our Prota. The mayor tells them that all the people who meet the requirements must meet at 8 p.m. at the town hall. Take advantage of this opportunity. Everyone was partying. Our Prota was only thinking about the harassment he had received from Lang Lingyu. Wenchang was hesitating whether to go or not, but the principal tells him that of course he must go. This was Wenchang's father, principal of the school. He tells our Prota and Wenchang to follow him. Since they are going to take a new test, they must follow the established process. Meeting room. They all had to sign a document. This was an act of life or death. Basically, the center is not responsible for his death. Our Prota, seeing this, thinks very seriously about not going. Hey guys, so far today's chapter. Thanks for watching it until the end. Give like and comment if you liked the story. I will try to bring the next part of this story as soon as possible. Bye.